it's Chris at the Boondocks Homestead. Hey, today we're gonna make a loaf of bread. It's gonna be sourdough, so if you don't have any sourdough starter to put in it, then go watch my other video and how to make a sourdough starter. But it will take you a few days, up to a few weeks to get that going if you don't have it going. If not, maybe I'll do one on here that does not have sourdough one day, but we eat sourdough bread and we really like it. It's healthier for us, and so that's the bread of our choice. So I make a lot of sourdough everything. But anyway, I've already put the yeast and the water. I put a cup of water in here, and I put 2 1/4 teaspoons of active yeast. And then I put about a tablespoon of honey, and I'll put this recipe underneath this video. But it's getting active. It's getting real frothy on top. I don't know if you can see that without me spilling it. It's getting really frothy and bubbly, and it's activating. So when this gets done, I'll bring you back and we'll add our other ingredients to it, and we'll get started on this bread. Okay, I think it's just about ready. And I'm sure some of you are wondering why I'm getting this yeast ready to put in sourdough bread. Well, I'm going to tell you. Sometimes I will do just the sourdough with no commercial yeast and just use the wild yeast that's in it. But then there's other times, like today, where I'm busy and I want to get this bread done now. So you got to weigh your options here. So do I want to use the wild yeast in the sourdough and it take me till tomorrow to make my bread, or do I want to put the commercial yeast in it and it take me a couple hours and the whole thing's done and my bread's done and it's still got sourdough in it? It's still sourdough bread. So I'm choosing this option because I'm really busy. But I make a lot of sourdough bread that I just use the wild yeast when I have time. And then when I don't have time, of course, I use the other, which I like them both. The sourdough without the commercial yeast is a little heavier and a little denser, but you're totally relying on that wild yeast that, it's made from your sourdough starter. And then with the commercial yeast, it's ready to go. It's going to make your stuff for you very quick. So anyway, that's why I'm using yeast today, because I've got a lot of things to do today. I feel like I say that on every video. I am. I'm busy all the time though. But I want to get this bread done because I have other stuff to do. And why don't I just run to town? Why don't I just run to town and get a loaf of bread? Because I don't buy bread at the store anymore. I make my bread. And it would kill me to have to go in the store and buy a loaf of bread. Now I do buy my flour there, and I buy my yeast, and I buy my other stuff there, but I just cannot bring myself to buy a loaf of bread. So anyways, it's not going to happen. Okay. It's just not, unless I'm just really ill or sick, or I'm not able to stand up here and make it. Okay. But and it's just good to know, you guys, that if I can't get my hands on yeast and I've got flour, I can make my own bread. I don't need to rely on anyone or any store or anything. I can make my own stuff, okay? And you can too. So if you don't have, if you're wanting sourdough bread and you're wanting just to put the sourdough in your bread, even if you're using commercial yeast, then you need to go watch my video where I am showing you how to start a sourdough starter, okay? Go watch that video and get you some started. It takes a while though. I mean, it's not something that's gonna happen overnight. But once you get it going, then you just maintain it and you keep it going. So I've got the cup of warm water, and you don't want to get it too hot if you're using commercial yeast. And then you want to put 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast in it. You can use active, you can use instant. If you use instant, you can skip this step totally. Just skip this step, okay? Just pour all your stuff together. Or the bread machine instant, I've done that before. That works good. But I just happen to use that Red Star active yeast, and so I have to get mine going. I have to get it activated. So that's why I'm doing this step, but you may not have to. And like I said, if you got sourdough, skip this. If you want to do just the wild yeast, skip this step, but you're not going to have bread for a little while. I just want you to know that, you know, you're not going to have bread in 2 hours. I'm going to have bread in 2 hours because I'm using this commercial yeast. Okay. So, but you do it how you want to do it. Okay. I'm just going to show you what I put in mine, and we're going to make us a loaf of bread. Now, I got this all pre-measured too, so I didn't have to fool with that, but I'll put this whole recipe underneath this video so you can see it and try it. So I always start with my flour after I do my yeast and everything. And I've got 4 cups in here. I always get a little extra because I'm going to put this over here on the KitchenAid stand-up mixer. And we're going to knead it with the dough hook. So I'm not standing here doing that much of it. I have done that before though. I have kneaded my bread until it was done. So we'll put 4 cups flour in there. And now I'm going to put, on top of that, I'm going to put 1/2 cup of my sourdough starter. Now listen, my starter is active. See it bubbling? It's all bubbly and everything. So I'm liable to have a very tall loaf of bread. But I'm going to use it anyway. So I'm putting this wild yeast and this commercial yeast I'm mixing together. No telling what I'll have. Anyway, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Okay. Now, we're going to put 1/2 stick of butter. Soft. Make sure it's soft. You don't want it melted, but you don't want it hard out of the refrigerator. Well, I leave my butter out. I don't know about y'all. But my butter, it stays in the freezer until I'm ready to use it, and then I leave it out until it's used. Okay? All right. But you do it how you want to do it. That's just what I do. That may not work for you. May not, you know, may not. But that's what I do. Then I'm going to put about, there's probably about 1.5 teaspoons. And I use the Redmond salt. I don't use table salt. I use Redmond salt. And I put that on there. Now, we're going to put this over here on the stand-up mixer. Put it over here where you can see it. It's heavy. Okay, I'm going to mix this. I'm going to mix this with the dough hook for about 5 to 6 minutes. So I'll get right back with you. All right, it's been about 6 minutes. And I'm going to spray this bowl with some spray. I'm going to take my bread out of here. My bread dough. Scoot back here where you can see a little bit. And I'm just going to kind of fold this. It's a very pliable dough. I really like this dough. I'm just going to kind of fold it a little bit, give it extra few little kneads with my hands. And then I'm going to put it in this bowl. And we're going to put a flour sack towel over it. You guys know how I like my flour sack towels. And we're going to let that rise. And I'm going to tell you what I usually do. I usually put my cookie rack up here. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to set it on top of there. And that heat's going to rise. And that heat's going to make my bread rise. Okay, so when it gets to that point, I will bring you back. All right, we're back. And the bread has risen. But while I was waiting for it to rise, you guys, my kitchen got a little busy. I'm back here making some strawberry rhubarb jam. So I got my jars going over here. I got my rhubarb and strawberry stuff going over here. I got a lot going on right now. Anyway, look, here's our bread. Here's our dough. Look how big and pretty that is. So we're going to spray our pan. Get it real good and wet there. And then I always, let me scoot back here where you can see me. What I do with my dough is I will push it down like this because this is just the first rise. And then I make it about as long as my pan. and then I roll it. You may have a different way of doing it, but this is how I do it. And then I kind of pinch it together on the bottom so that it will stay together down there. And then I just kind of tighten it up a little bit, make that skin kind of tight. Okay, and then I'm gonna put it in here. We're gonna put another flour sack towel, put the towel back over it. This is gonna rise for about a little bit above your edge of your pan, okay? We're gonna let it rise that much. And then we're gonna put it in the oven at 350 for 40 minutes. So after it rises, I'll get back with you. And I'll show you how much it rose, you know, and what it looks like on the pan. And then we'll put it in the oven. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, it is done. We're gonna put this bread in the oven. So I let it get about that much above the rim of my pan, if you can see that. And then I pop it in the oven for about 45 minutes. I'll tell you what I do. I get my thermometer and I stick it in the end. If it reads anywhere from 197 to 200, you're good to go. If your bread is done, take it out and put it on a cooling rack, smother it with butter, and you're good, okay? So we're gonna put this in the oven for 40 minutes and I'll bring you back when it's done. All right, guys, it's done and it's cooled off. So I've been really busy in here doing my strawberry rhubarb jelly or jam. I've been doing jam. And I've done 24 half pints, a pint, and another half pint. And then I had this much left over. So I've been busy. And I'm getting ready to fix us some grilled cheese on this with tomato and ham on it. It's gonna be good. Okay, what I did was when I brought this out of the oven, I put butter all over it. Then I dumped it out of the bread pan, put it on the rack, let it cool, and it's just real soft. It's real soft bread, real soft. And this is sourdough now. So we're gonna cut it in the middle. Look at that. Look at that. Well, that look good. It smells so good. So I'm gonna show y'all. Here's my slice of bread. I'm gonna get me a little bit of butter. I'm gonna taste it. I gotta taste it before I feed it to Tim, don't you know? And I should not be having this this sugar. I made this jam for the farmer's market, but we're gonna taste it because I sure wouldn't want to sell nothing to nobody or give nothing to nobody that wasn't no good, right? Okay, I'm just making an excuse, but let's taste it. Let's just taste it. It is so good, you guys. It is so good. Where's my towel? That's why I always wear one of these towels on my shoulder. I just don't wipe my hands off. That is good. I need to make you some of this bread. And maybe one day I'll do one where you don't do sourdough. Just in case, you know, some people don't like sourdough. I don't know why, but they don't. So, there you have it. Good old bread. So instead of going to the store to get you some, be making this at home. Making this for your kids. It's better for them. Better for your whole family. You don't have all those preservatives. And with that being said, it only lasts on the counter 3 to 5 days. That's why you gotta eat it. Make it and eat it. It smells so good, you guys. It's so good. All right, I'm gonna get off here. I gotta fix us some dinner. I'm exhausted. I've just gotta rest. I just need to lay down and rest. I've been going since about 5 o'clock this morning. I'll catch you guys later, Lord willing. Bye.